health tech is it's not even the wave of the future. It's now. It's been around for a long time. But because of COVID, because of us having to hunker down at home and do tele visits like this, people are now finally starting to understand the benefits of telehealth, remote monitoring, what we call remote monitoring, and then even more self-directed care. So how can I leverage these kind of tools to help me take better care of myself? So yeah, it's fun.
It's very cool. You know, with 5P, with the military management method, we've helped out healthcare administrators who are looking to achieve magnet status and who are putting in relationship-based care type stuff. So I definitely understand and can appreciate where you're coming from a corporate medicine standpoint, and your appreciation for going more toward the private practice, because there are a whole lot of people out there who are extraordinarily smart. They're just not that business savvy, you know, and how can we put other things into place in order to be able to help them grow and do these different things? It's very much so business development. That is freaking awesome. And I so appreciate you bringing on new technology onto the show. That is so cool. You know, one of my parents retired out of healthcare administration. Another one retired out of a large pacer and defibrillator corporation.
Okay.
So both of them are really going to appreciate your technology going on over here. So very cool.
Okay, good. Yeah, be glad to talk to him about it.
Heck yeah. And for those of you who would like to talk with Gordon Jones at gordonjones.org, you can also connect with him. Where are you on LinkedIn? Can people talk to you over
LinkedIn,
there?
Dr. Gordon Jones, Pinterest, Dr. Gordon Jones, Instagram, Dr. Gordon Jones, Facebook, Dr. Gordon Jones. What else is there? I said LinkedIn.
There you go.
LinkedIn, definitely LinkedIn. LinkedIn's my primary platform. All the other ones kind of just push content out, but I communicate and network on LinkedIn primarily.
Excellent. We love pushing it. A lot of our listeners are on LinkedIn. A lot of them are in the professional networks. So it's great to be able to have those in-depth conversations with other people who get our nerdiness also. Right? Isn't that something that's so wonderful when it's reciprocated? It's like, oh, yes, you're as passionate and crazy about this type of stuff as I am.
Awesome. That's right.
And it's so wonderful getting that fellowship. So, all right. So I got to ask you a little bit backstory here, because I was poking around on gordonjones.org and I saw in there your about section. And as a father of 4, I appreciate what you're doing for children. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how you're helping those who are, say, coming into the K through 12 and they're dealing with medical issues?
So I married late. I was 45 when I got married. So I'm still, 45-ish, but I've been married for 12 years. So, and we decided before we got married that, we were going to be all about kids. So we wanted to have lots of kids. She has her PhD in speech pathology, and she's board certified in swallowing and swallowing disorders, as well as neurodevelopmental therapy and a whole bunch of other stuff. So she's actually smarter than I could ever be. And so we started up a foundation to pay for therapy for children. Actually, she started it right before we got married. And we were raising money to pay for speech, occupational therapy, and physical therapy for children. She had a multidisciplinary integrated clinic that provided this therapy for children. And the insurance companies were cutting back on the number of sessions per week that they would pay for. And as you can imagine, the more sessions you do, especially early in the therapy cycle, the faster the kids get better. But the insurance companies were cutting back. And so she started up this foundation to raise money to pay for therapy for these kids. And so what that over the last 12 years grew into is a vision of not only combining the multidisciplinary therapies of OTPT and speech, but also integrating that into the learning process where we're taking these kids who are, we call them medically fragile. So they're pretty intense. They're beyond just special needs. You know, a lot of these kids are physically unable to even walk. And one parent is really required to stay home with them. So these families are even in a little bit of financial difficulties because they have higher medical bills, but then one has to actually stay home and can't earn an income. And so Jennifer came up with this model to create a preschool for these children, primarily from 6 months up to 7 years old. These kids have never been indoctrinated with other kids like them, much less other children, period. And so this is the first time they're able to come into a school setting where they see other kids just like them. And then the purpose of the model is also to include what we call typically developing kids. So your other kids who are 6 months to 7 years old who don't have any medical problems, and bring them both together into this school, incorporating the learning with the socialization, and then also incorporating the clinical aspect. So our therapists actually go into the classroom to do therapy on these kids while they're learning with their teacher. In some cases, they do get pulled out when they have to use some specific equipment, but for generally, they go into the classroom. That's the purpose of the model, so that they can get therapy whenever they need to throughout the day while they're learning. And so that's our nonprofit, primary nonprofit side of our caring for children.